wonderful friends, it's Evelyn here and welcome back to this, my very own little creative corner of the internet here on YouTube. Now my friends, I don't know if you can see, but there is some absolutely gorgeous sunshine coming through the window in this little creative corner of my house here in the Scottish Highlands today. Fingers crossed that is spring well on its way. And my friends, I really do think that it is, because this week I've begun to see the beginnings of new shoots on my gorgeous rose bushes. I'm so excited about this. I finished pruning them last month, ready for this year's flowering season, and they're already looking incredible. I'll be sure to get some footage of those for you, my friends. But this week I'm continuing to get to sewing the huge fabric stash that I'm currently sat on, my friends. Yes, now if you've been here on the channel for any length of time, my friends, you might have heard recently when I was talking about this year's sewing plans that I definitely want to get through some of that fabric stash. And this week I'm going to be looking at one of my favourite stretch fabrics, ponte. So without further ado, let's chat ponte fabric, its properties, some of my favourite makes that I've already created from it, from, yes, you've guessed it, right here on the channel, and we'll be getting to a brand new ponte make too. So without further ado, my friends, please hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. But come on, let's get to some sewing. Ponte fabric, my friends, just like this gorgeous ivory ponte fabric from my wonderful friends at Minerva, is a double knit fabric. It's usually created with a blend of synthetic and natural fibres, just like this one here is a polyester and cotton blend, my friends, and its knitted construction makes it a wonderful stretchy fabric, perfect for bodycon creations or creations that are a little more figure hugging, my friends. It's incredibly soft as well, and it comes in a huge variety of colours and patterns. It's blended with either lycra or elastane to give it that stretchy property. I absolutely love working with ponte, my friends, and actually I've worked with it quite a few times here on the Evelyn Adore channel. Let's check out a few of my favourite makes. Ponte is one of my ultimate favourite fabrics to work with. It's really easy to cut and sew, and when it comes to sewing with ponte on your machine, my friends, you really don't need any special type of stretch stitch. A narrow zigzag will work just fine. My top tip here, be sure to install a stretch, ballpoint or jersey needle in your sewing machine. This will really help when you're working with stretch fabrics like ponte, and it will ensure, my friends, that you don't get any of those pesky skipped stitches. And my friends, yes, we were talking about sewing up some of the fabric stash, including this gorgeous ponte. So without further ado, let's create something with this stunning ivory ponte fabric. Now, my friends, this creation this week is based on my previous creation here on the channel, my pin-up jumpsuit, and actually my mock-up version of that jumpsuit, which was created in a ponte just like this one, but a black ponte fabric. I loved that jumpsuit so much, my friends, particularly the bodice. So that's exactly what we're going to do this week, my friends. Recreate that bodice, but for a top rather than a jumpsuit. So if you haven't checked out that video, be sure to do just that, my friends. I'll pop a card to the video above and also, as usual, in the description box too. But come on, let's get to some creating. Oh dear, the best made plans. Oops. So I've grabbed that gorgeous ponte fabric, my friends, and I'm joined by my lovely assistant, Lady Luna. Hello, sweetie. Yeah, she's a bit annoyed at me because there's no tea left, is there? You've drunk it all. Yes, I'll make another one in a minute, sweet girl. So what I've done is I've created a fold on that ponte fabric, and on that fold I've placed the front of that top pattern piece, which is the same pattern that I used for my pin-up jumpsuit, and then I've lined up at the waistline my skirt block front. So the next step, my friends, is to draw all around this, adding a seam allowance and taking out the dart fullness when I get to trace around the skirt block. So I've just made a mark just here, as you can see, my friends, to take out that fullness of the dart from the side seam. I'm then going to come down from the hip line by 3 inches, and that's where I'm going to finish the line for this top. And that's another reason why it's great to use this skirt block for drafting like this, because I don't really have to do any measuring of any kind because my hip line is already on the skirt block. So a really easy, quick project this week, my friends. So time to get tracing. Hey, sweetie. Those pieces traced around, the front piece looks a bit like this. So you can definitely see it coming together already. And as I said, my friends, this is an incredibly quick and easy project. And sometimes I feel like you need a palette cleanser when it comes to sewing, because if you've done a really complex project, I feel like you need something easier sometimes to just get back to simplicity and not overcomplicate things. So that's the front. So I'm going to go and replicate exactly the same process with the back pieces that are just there next to my cover. Front and back pieces traced and cut out, they looked like this. Grabbing the sleeve pattern from the pin-up jumpsuit, cutting those out was next, remembering to add that seam allowance all around. bodice and sleeve pieces cut out. The last piece I needed to cut out from my ponte was for the fold over off the shoulder overlap collar. Goodness, what a mouthful. For that, I've literally cut a rectangle of fabric. The width is twice the finished desired width plus 2 seam allowances, and the length is found out by measuring the top of your sleeves and the top of your bodice back and front minus 2 inches, because obviously there are seam allowances that will be taken up when you sew the sleeves together and then the sleeves to the bodice. So that's the last piece that I need to cut out. So now it's time to get to some sewing. Employing that narrow zigzag, the first task was joining bodice front and back pieces at the side seams. Before batch pinning and sewing the sleeve seams and the first sewing step for that fold over collar, beginning by joining the short ends together to create a fabric ring. And just look at that zigzag stitch. The final preparation for that collar, it's folded in half lengthways, wrong sides together and basted closed along the upper edge, ready to be attached to the top. A top which is just about to have its sleeves inserted. Sleeves in, and this top was really starting to take shape. After my recent L'Amour dress project, this quick and easy project was a really nice, easy palette cleanser. That collar is then attached all around the upper edge of the bodice and sleeves, pinning it on the inside of the top, right side of the collar facing the wrong side of the top. So when it's flipped out to the outside, all of those seam allowances are hidden. Magic. And after the sleeves and top are hemmed, simply by folding the allowance to the inside and stitching in place, just 2 hours after I began, this top is finished. Palette cleanser indeed, my friends. Well, my friends, I absolutely love this Bardot style off-shoulder top. When I first created the pin-up jumpsuit, I knew that I would be wanting to create top versions in future. It just took me a fair few years to get around to it, and I absolutely love this top. When it comes to wearing the top tucked into other garments, however, it is a little bit on the long side. So when I come to create this style again, and I definitely will because, full disclosure friends, there is a lot of ponte fabric in my fabric stash still to be sewn, I think instead of coming down from the hip line by 3 inches, I'll just come down an inch or 2, as this is a little bit on the long side. Having said that, my friends, I adore this creation. But until next week, take care, my friends, and stay safe. I'll see you then. Bye.